Okay. Hi, Tamara. Hi, Brian and Linda. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Wednesday Loving Kindness Meditation. My name is Alex. It's wonderful to be here with you today. There are faces I have not seen before. I love that. So can I get a show of hands? How many people is your first time to Dharma Bum Temple? How many times, not your first time to Dharma Bum Temple, but your first time to Wednesday Loving Kindness class? I'm sorry?
I said that's the more
right. Cool. All right. So, really this class, even though it's a loving kindness class, it's kind of run the same way. We're going to have the short introduction, and then we're going to have a meditation, which I'm going to guide, and on loving kindness specifically. And then after that, we're going to have like a question and answer ceremony. Sometimes there's things that I want to say or present to you. But a lot of times I like to hear from you, especially if there's a lot of people I haven't seen before, or if there are people who haven't been here in a while, or if you're just restarting or new to a loving kindness practice. It's a little bit different. And, I encourage you to just, whatever questions you want to ask is perfectly okay. It doesn't even have to be about loving kindness. It can be about, keep it Buddhism related, but whatever you want to ask in that area. Last week was really, really interesting because when I started the class, I think there were like 2 people here and so many people online, like 7 people online or 6 people online or something like that. And for the longest time, when I got here, it was just me and Omar, and we're having a conversation when it's just us, and it's 6:59 rolls around and all these people show up. I love it. It's really interesting, when the sun goes down sooner, and it's going to be daylight savings this Sunday, right? So the clocks go back, fall back. So it's going to be getting darker even earlier. So that will be interesting. And what's interesting, where I was going with that is when that happens, and when it gets darker earlier, things change and people's behavior changes. I've noticed that, coming here and leading class here for well over a decade, how people's behavior changes with kind of the time of year. It's really interesting. Not good or bad. It's just different. All right. Let's see here. I was going to say something else. Oh, yes, that's right. So let me talk a little bit about this word that we're talking about when we say loving kindness. The word that we're talking about is metta, M-E-T-T-A. And this word metta is, comes from an ancient Pali language. After the Buddha died in about 486 BCE, Buddhism was an oral tradition. Everything was an oral tradition because it was a very illiterate society. 3% literacy rate or something really, really low. And so everything was passed down orally. And if you read the sutras and if you read the texts, they have this very repetitive nature to them. And that's just because it's a memory trick. It's a mnemonic. It helps them to remember all of the sutra. And we have a lovely German Shepherd here who I just think is just the most adorable thing. Oh my goodness, she's so cute. Just a puppy, only 9 months old. She's so cute. Oh my God, I can't even. So when this word gets translated, this word metta, into English 2,500 years later, it can mean a lot of different things. It can mean unconditional friendliness, goodwill, loving kindness, and it's simply a wish to be happy. And not only a wish to be happy, but a wish for ourselves and a wish for others to do the things that cause happiness. And if you've been around the Dharma Bum Temple any length of time, you probably already know, but don't realize you know, what causes happiness. And so the motto of the Dharma Bum Temple, and it's on mugs and it's on the back of t-shirts, is think good thoughts, speak good words, do good deeds. And those are the things that cause happiness. They cause happiness in ourselves and they cause happiness for others. So when we do this practice of loving kindness, which I'm going to guide, and I'm going to give you all the instructions that you need, you'll see for yourself. And so I encourage you just to try it out the best that you can and see what it does for you. If there is anyone here who is sitting in a chair or a pew and your feet don't comfortably reach the floor and you wanted to reach the floor, that's okay. You can just put your feet on any one of these meditation cushions if you want to. A lot of people find that helpful. There you go. So you're not kind of like stretching for the floor, you know. And if you're sitting in a chair at home, you can do the same thing if you have a meditation cushion. All right. Any questions before we start? Okay, good. All right. Be a good girl. So just allow your eyes to close. Making sure you have that nice, comfortable seated position that's nice and comfortable and sustainable, so you're not likely to move around too much. And when we sit like a Buddha. We can even imagine ourselves as a Buddha sitting underneath the Bodhi tree of enlightenment. But you can sit under your own tree of enlightenment because each Buddha has their own tree that they use to gain enlightenment under. And so what we're going to do first is we're going to just follow the breath and just get connected to the breath, because during the meditation, even though I'm going to give you instructions on loving kindness, you want at least about 25% of your attention on the breath, and that will keep you focused. It'll keep you focused on the present moment or in the present, which will make your meditation on loving kindness so much more productive and happy. So let's just take a deep breath all the way in and all the way out. At first, not forcing it, letting the breath be quite easy and quite natural, and just following the breath all the way in and all the way out. Calming those parts of the body that might be a little restless and in need of some relaxation. So just for the next few moments, just rest as gently as you can in the sensations of the breath. And so to begin our practice of loving kindness, we're going to first think of someone who we call a benefactor. And a benefactor is anyone who has shown us great love or great kindness. Someone it's really easy to have these feelings for, really easy to wish loving kindness to. It can be a family member, a best friend, co-worker, or just somebody who you've benefited from their love and their kindness. And call this person to mind and understand that they just want to be happy, healthy, free from harm. And just radiate loving kindness to this person, wishing them happiness, wishing they do the things that cause happiness. And however you understand that word radiate. And so I like to picture a beam of loving kindness going from my heart to theirs. And this beam of loving kindness can be different colors, and it can be warm, and it can be vibrating, it could be cool, it could be pulsing, it could be whatever you want. You can have more than one benefactor. They could be living, they could be not living. So for the next few moments, let's just do this practice of loving kindness for our benefactor. Now shifting our focus just a little bit from doing this practice for our benefactor to now imagining our benefactor doing this practice for us. And so it could be the same benefactor, it could be a different one. And just picture them and imagine that they're doing this practice for you, that they're radiating loving kindness for you. And your only job is just to receive all of your benefactor's loving kindness into your own heart. If you want, if it's helpful to you, you can put your hand over your heart. You can smile, because smiling always helps with generating positive mind states and a positive attitude. If there's any areas of tension when you're receiving this loving kindness, that's okay. Just take a deep breath and breathe into your heart, into that part of the heart that has that tension, maybe giving it a little space. So just for the next few moments, we're just going to imagine our benefactor doing this practice for us and us receiving all of their loving kindness. Now, can we then turn this practice of loving kindness and do this practice for yourself, or we'll do it for ourselves? So just call to mind our own wish to be happy, our own wish to be safe and healthy, free from danger. And you can either radiate loving kindness back onto yourself, you can imagine your heart getting bigger and warmer, or you can just simply repeat phrases of loving kindness to yourself. Phrases like, may I be happy. May I be safe from inner and outer danger. May I be well in body and mind. May I be at peace and live at ease in this world. You can just choose one or more of those phrases, or any phrase that has a loving and a kind intention behind it. So for the next few moments, we'll do this practice of loving kindness for ourselves. And finally, it's a lot of loving kindness goodness that we've generated. And now, can we now explore the limitless quality of the heart? Because the heart does have this limitless quality by doing this practice for all beings in all directions. No matter what beings there may be, near or far away, the great, mighty, medium, short, or small, those seen and unseen, those born and to be born, may all beings be at ease. Upwards to the skies and downwards to the depths, outwards and unbounded. So we'll end our meditation by doing this for the next few moments. Loving kindness for all beings. Just allow your eyes to open when you're ready. And just taking the next moment or two out in silence as you stretch your arms and you stretch your legs, keeping that mindfulness of loving kindness about you while you do. And we'll begin. If you have any questions, think about those now, and that includes, online as well. I do have a question for everybody online and here in just a minute. So something I was kind of thinking about. She likes to be touched, likes to be petted.
Yeah.
She just a regular dog, or she could be like a therapy dog?
Yeah,
or...
it says, yeah.
Oh, therapy dog?
Yeah.
Oh, nice. So she's in training now?
Yeah.
Very exciting. You'll get there, my love. Don't you worry. All right. Okay. Well, first, let me ask. Are there any questions on the instructions at all? If you haven't been to this class, or if you haven't been to this class a lot, they may seem relatively new to you. So if you have any questions, it's okay to ask that. You don't have to, that's okay. I'm always interested to know what your experience of this kind of meditation is or was. So this is a great thing because it's very free-form. There's no wrong answer. It's just what your experience is. Your experience is your experience. Was that easy, or was it difficult, or enjoyable, or not enjoyable? Everybody's just hunkering down.
Oh, yes. My name is Carla.
Hi, Carla.
Yeah, sometimes it's easier to find a benefactor and to give love and kindness than receiving it.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's more difficult to accept that people can give you love and kindness.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that's really common for so many people, where it's just easier to give it than receive it. And I think this idea of loving kindness it's giving and receiving. And if we can do both giving and receiving equally, we'll get the most out of our practice. But it's not always this easy at first.
Yeah.
Because we're not used to it. We're conditioned into thinking that, you should just give it, but you shouldn't receive any loving kindness, even from yourself, because that's wrong and that's selfish and that's, something, whatever other nonsense that we've been conditioned to believe. And this is just not true. And, when we think about loving kindness and doing nice things for ourselves, it's a lot of self-care as well. And one of the things that I started doing was doing nice things for myself. Because when I was doing the practice, the loving kindness for myself, just like sitting meditation, I would do it, but I couldn't feel anything. So these words couldn't really penetrate my heart at first. And so, they started doing, I first heard this word, self-care. And hopefully we've all heard this word. And so now I do self-care as well. And that's made my meditations a lot better. So, I'll make sure that's quiet in the house, and that I'll make sure that I read a book, or I read the Dharma, or I'll make sure that I'll have a bath. And I've really spoiled myself, and I take a lot of baths, like a lot of baths. and the light in my bathroom is off, and I just have like a candle, and it's quiet, and I just sit with myself, and well, of course I have my phone, right? And so I'm not totally by myself, but it's quiet and it's soothing, and it's something that I do that really helps. And a lot of times I make sure, I just take the time to read for a little bit, or, whatever that is. I think I've already mentioned that. And, those actions have made my loving kindness practice for myself a lot easier. And so that's one way. Okay, Tina says, and I'll get you just a second. I find myself picturing other people smiling and smiling myself. Yes, that's a great observation. So that's another good thing to do. You can imagine other people smiling. That's a good thing.
I'm Megan.
Hi, Megan.
Hi. I was going to say about being on the receiving end. For me, it was like my ego got in the way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
My benefactor is someone who's more suffering and in their disease of addiction. So sending them loving kindness, and then when it's coming from them for me, I'm like, no, I'm good. Like I'm doing pretty good right now. Like, I don't really need it,
Uh-huh.
And I was kind of like blocked, like I didn't want to open it and receive it as much.
Yeah.
Like I'm okay.
Yeah.
But I do need it.
Yeah, you absolutely do. And you need it from yourself, and you need it from other people. And the person who you're doing this for doesn't have to be the person doing it for you. It could be a different person. So if the person you're doing it for struggles with addiction, and I'm in recovery many years, so I know what that's like. You can just choose somebody else. That's fine. Because when we say to ourselves that, oh, I don't need it, you need all of mine, but I don't need any of yours, there's no exchange there. It's very one-sided. And it's the way that our ego tells us, no, we don't need that. I can give it to you, but you don't have to give it to me. And it's really interesting. The ego's tricky. The ego knows all of our likes and dislikes, and the ego knows all of our secrets, and it knows some secrets we've forgotten, and it knows all the ways it can convince us to do all of the things that cause us suffering, that seem like it's happiness, right? And so part of being able to do loving kindness for ourselves is just to have the experience of, oh, this feels really good, and I do deserve this. I do deserve this. It was so interesting, and it brings me back to a couple of weeks ago when I told the story of the Buddha, the Enlightenment story of the Buddha, and in this story, the Buddha is sitting underneath the Bodhi tree, and Mara, the Templar god, was trying to tempt him and sway him from his concentration and meditation, and prevent him from becoming enlightened. And he tries anger, and he tries lust, and this doesn't work, right? And then he tries his most powerful weapon, which is the most powerful weapon of the ego, and that's doubt. Doubt. And in the story, Mara goes, tempting him with doubt. He goes, who do you think you are that you can escape me? I have everybody else in my grasp. What makes you think, who are you? Who are you? What makes you think you're any better? And then in the story, the Buddha takes his hand in meditation, he touches the ground, meaning he's bearing witness to the earth, and the earth goddess Gaia rises up and says, well, I'll tell you who he is. He is a man who has lived countless lifetimes doing good deed after good deed after good deed after good deed. And And I think a lot of times we can imagine this for ourselves, or we can just recall ourselves. We know for a fact we've done so many good things for people. We were kind to people in so many ways in our lifetime, and probably multiple lifetimes. Let's just work with this one lifetime. We've done so many nice things for people. We've been there for people. We would probably be the benefactor for a lot of people, if they were doing this kind of meditation. And that's really helpful for me in thinking that, oh yeah, it's okay if I do this, because I do deserve this. And doubt was the last of the three trials in the Buddha story. It was the last of the three trials because it's the strongest, stronger even than lust and sensual desire. It's so strong. And our ego keeps on telling us, no, we don't know, just give it. We don't know, no. It activates our kind of martyr complex. No, not me. Just, hang me on a cross. It's another religion, but still. And when we practice self-care and loving kindness for ourselves, just slowly but surely, we realize, oh my God, this feels so good. And it does. It feels so good. So good, you guys. And the more you do it, the better you feel. So,
which then, the better I feel, the more I'm going to speak
right.
good words and do good deeds.
The more naturally it comes out, because you have the experience in your own heart of loving kindness. And when you have that experience, it automatically just goes out. There's no forcing it. There's no, I have to do something for somebody, right? Because, so often when we do something, we think, I have to do. No, I don't. I just do it because I feel so much loving kindness here. I have to share it. I have to. And we become really, really wise about how we do it too. Because, the Buddha talks a lot about happiness and loving kindness and generosity and all of these things are a skill. Tan Jeff, who lives up in a Metaforest monastery, he talks about this a lot as developing skills. Like loving kindness is a skill, generosity is a skill, right? Because you just can't willy-nilly give to everybody in the whole world. You have to be smart about who you're giving to, and understand fully why you're doing it. And can this person accept your loving kindness? Can they even accept it? So that's a wonderful sutra. I have to take a look at where that's at. Do you know where that's at? I'll have to take a look. Skill and generosity, I think, or something like that. Okay. She gave up, but she guys, Lola's a puppy. She's only 9 months old, so I think maybe she's absorbing all of the good energy here. Or she's just exhausted. So one of the things, and I don't know if it affects anybody here or not, but usually this time of year can be really, really difficult for some people. It's a time of a lot of family gatherings and joyful celebrations. There's Thanksgiving and Christmas and all the things that, like Hanukkah and all the other things, holidays that people celebrate. And, but there's a lot of sadness for a lot of people, the seasonal affective disorder. And, with COVID and all, like last year, we were all in lockdown and even now this year, there's a lot of the same things in a lot of places. So I always wonder, whether this affects you or not this time of year, do you feel any different this time of year versus what you used to feel like? Any worse or better? Any happier or sadder?
You mean in 2021?
Yeah, now versus like 2020 or 2019, even before all this stuff even happened. Or is it just the same?
What I can see is that there's a lot of like neuroses.
Mm-hmm.
The people,
Mhm.
like ego is, working a lot with the people.
Mm-hmm.
Also, more sadness in the atmosphere. I can feel it.
So you feel more sadness?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Like hopelessness. Like people don't know what's gonna happen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So still, okay. People don't know what's going to happen. So a lot of hopelessness, a lot of uncertainty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel dividedness.
Yeah, I was gonna say that.
Yeah. Just
Dividedness. And,
Divisiveness,
general,
I agree.
like if you think about super like sciencey or whatever, but at base level we're just another species of animal.
yeah.
And I don't know if other species of animals do the things that we do to our own species. It's weird. And so it's like divide. I don't know, it's weird.
I don't know.
I thought they were going to stop in front of here or something like that. So yeah, a lot of dividedness and divisiveness. Yeah, for sure. And I'm wondering, if that, and of course, because of COVID, and I've talked about this before, COVID and any pandemic in general will cause a lot of uncertainty and fear. And when there's a lot of uncertainty and fear, you get the conspiracy theorists who feed off this uncertainty and fear, and they don't know what to do with it. And we as humans, we like firm, solid ground to stand on. We need a lot of this certainty. When something like COVID comes and there's uncertainty, there's a couple of, I read in this book called The Psychology of Conspiracy Theories, because I wanted to look at it from not just the psychological point of it, is there seems to be a couple of psychological processes that get activated or overstimulated. And the first one is pattern recognition. And these psychological processes, the thing that's really interesting about them is like every human needs them. Like every single human needs them for survival. That's why, people believing in conspiracy theories and getting all bent out of shape and causing a lot of divisive, it can happen to anybody, whether you're educated or not educated, whatever, however we divide ourselves, those types of people, rich, poor, all those different things, they can happen to anybody. Because at some point we've all believed in some conspiracy theory. So that's the first one, called pattern recognition, seeing patterns and patterns that aren't there. And the other one is called agency detection. And agency detection, agency is just the ability of someone to do something. And so understanding who has the ability to hurt you. And so then we go to like big bad pharma and the big bad government, and that gets overstimulated, and then they think all those different types of things. And so like yesterday you saw where everyone was gathered in Dallas at Daley Plaza where John F. Kennedy was shot, all these QAnon folks thinking that John F. Kennedy, who's been dead since 1999, is going to come back and become the vice president and install the former president as the current president. Like that's just going to happen. And they literally believe these things. And of course, when that didn't happen, then they just came up with a new date because the cognitive dissonance is just really strong. And it's like, well, they don't want to see that they're just wrong. Oh no, we're right. It's just, they just move the goalposts, so to speak, right? And so, yeah, I mean, something like COVID and a pandemic, it just, that will happen. And we were already divisive anyway, politically. And so that just kind of exacerbated things. And so,
right.
I'm sorry?
It was right.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes, it was right for, something to happen.
I think for me, it's been kind of like half and half, where like it's been really good and really bad.
Mhm.
It's kind of weird because you don't know how to feel about that. 'Cause
Yeah.
Myself and others, a lot of people have suffered. I haven't suffered, but I mean, there's been a lot of big changes,
Mhm.
and we've all lost people and things like that. So
Yeah.
I feel kind of like that guilt of like, but then I've done things that I would not have done had COVID had not happened.
Mhm.
So I never would have left the job I was in. I probably would have left, but I wouldn't have been forced, or it kind of forced me
Right.
to go do other things,
Right.
which I feel so much better. Like
Yeah.
professionally, it's been great.
Yeah.
But then there's the other side of it where it's like, it's kind of like that. It's almost some days you don't know how to feel about it because it's like, on one hand, this is great. I'm at the beach. I'm
Right.
paid for this. And then other days it's like, but I also have a friend who lost everything. She's living back with her mom.
Yeah.
And so it's, her loved ones passed away and things like that from COVID. So
Yeah.
I think kind of what we were talking about, people kind of feeding into that, or she was saying, like, not knowing what's going to happen next, because you don't know, like, it's everyone, I think, is kind of like, we're all up and down all the time.
Yeah. And, Buddhist practice has been related to absolute uncertainty and not searching for the need to have solid ground, like being comfortable with uncertainty and have that being completely okay. And one like a metaphor or one analogy was, it's kind of like, jumping out of a plane with a parachute, without a parachute. The bad news is you don't have a parachute. Sorry. Yeah, the bad news is you don't have a parachute. The good news is there's no ground. So this is a groundless practice of where you're supposed to be comfortable with uncertainty, or learn to be comfortable with uncertainty. And that's a really hard lesson.
We don't have the education system that teaches us how to deal with uncertainty.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of us getting away from science and recently has created the uncertainty about what's going on.
Yeah.
And it's kept people from just, I'm having a hard time with understanding the other side. And I realize the other side, there's a lot of fear, and your limbic system kicks in and you respond and react. And when you're at your limbic system, is what's going on, it's fear-based. And I'm working really hard to understand. I want to understand. I just don't want to be angry. I want to understand what's going on. And I think the thing that I keep repeating is a quote by Abraham Lincoln that says, "Do I not defeat my enemy when I make them my friend?" So I'm really working on trying to understand.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and when a lot of people lose their jobs, when people like lose their jobs or have some sort of financial loss or any kind of loss, a loss of relatives. So many people have lost people they know, or they've lost relatives. That just exacerbates the uncertainty. It was bad before, now it's even worse. That just makes things harder.
I didn't feel like the uncertainty didn't bother me. It was more like feeling happy when I knew that other people were not feeling good.
Yeah.
And like, how do you say that to a friend? Like, how are you? And you're like, well, good
Yeah.
and bad.
Yeah. But that's okay. It didn't. It affected people. It affected people differently, you know. And but yeah, I mean, that's all right. That's okay. Anything else before we end for tonight? Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Lola. Now let's join our palms together at our hearts, please. And may the benefits of this meditation, this discussion be received by all beings. May all beings be free from suffering. May all beings be at peace. May all beings be joyful and at ease. May all beings be happy. May all beings be loved and seen for the beautiful, radiant beings that they are, that you are. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks, Owen.
We will see you next time. Have a wonderful rest of your week. Have a wonderful weekend. See you online, folks.
See you.
That was awesome.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Hi.
Nice
Nice to meet you.
Thank you.
Bye, Jane.
Bye. Nice meeting you.
Bye. Nice meeting you, Carla. Thank you.
Bye. See you
Bye,
soon.
Lola.
Lola.